Kia ora koutou, and welcome to the Legislative Council Chamber at Parliament and to the draw of the bill that's going to be debated in the Youth Parliament this year. I have with me the Speaker, the Right Honourable Trevor Mallard, and I'm shortly going to hand over to the Minister of Youth Affairs, the Honourable Priyanka Radhakrishnan, to introduce this process today. And then we'll move on with drawing the bills after the members have spoken. So over to you, Minister.
Thank you. Tēnā koutou katoa. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here with you all for the Youth Parliament 2022 mock bill draw, even if it is virtually for me. Can I just acknowledge the Right Honourable Trevor Mallard, Speaker of the New Zealand House of Representatives, other MPs who might be watching, and just welcome everyone who's in the room there in the Legislative Council chamber, and all those who are watching the live stream as well. Now, Youth Parliament is held every 3 years, and it provides an opportunity for our young people aged between 16 and 24 to learn firsthand about New Zealand's democracy, to influence government decision making, and really to have their voices heard. Youth Parliament is jointly run by the Office of the Clerk and the Ministry of Youth Development, and that partnership really means that we can leverage the Office of the Clerk's expertise in parliamentary procedure and MYD's knowledge and experience in promoting young people's voices, in supporting their well-being, and successfully having run 9 previous Youth Parliament events as well. This is a 6-month program that begins today, the 1st of March, and it runs till Wednesday, the 31st of August, with the 2-day Youth Parliament 2022 event that will be held on the 19th and 20th of July this year. So the bill drawn today will be the mock legislation that is debated by our youth MPs during that 2-day session. Just also want to acknowledge that we live in pretty uncertain times with COVID in our midst. And so there is contingency planning for Youth Parliament 2022 that is underway. And these plans will evolve as required ahead of the 2-day event that I just mentioned, just to make sure that we keep everyone safe in these times as well. Just finally, ensuring that rangatahi voices and perspectives are listened to, valued, and really embedded in decision making is a huge part of what the Ministry of Youth Development does. Young people have consistently told us that they want this to happen, and debating this mock bill in that 2-day session is one way in which we can support youth voices to be heard. Once again, just acknowledging it is a particularly challenging time, especially for our rangatahi across the motu. This is an opportunity for you to make a difference, both to the communities that you represent, but equally an opportunity for youth MPs to make a difference in the way the rest of us, members of Parliament, understand youth issues as well. So once again, a huge thanks to everyone who's part of this process, and can I wish you all the very best of luck. Thank you for having me here today. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. And now I'll hand over to the Speaker of Parliament.
First of all, to thank the Honourable Priyanka Radhakrishnan for providing a little bit of background about the Youth Parliament. Thank the Clerk for being our official drawer today. And to say that I'm really looking forward to meeting the Youth MPs. It's a wonderful tradition now every 3 years that we have our Youth Parliament. Lots and lots of interesting people have come through here and gone on to make some quite big contributions afterwards. So I'm looking forward to meeting some of the future of New Zealand. Just a little bit about the background for this room. Back in the day, really ancient times before even I was born, we used to have an upper house in New Zealand, like a Senate in the States or a House of Lords in the United Kingdom. And we called it a legislative council, and this was their room. I actually think it's probably the best room in the entire Parliament. It's very ornate. It's got a wonderful mezzanine floor. There's lots of marble about, and the paneling is fantastic. And I'm sure you'll get to like it. Since the early 1950s, it's had a variety of uses. most famously as being the centre for the New Zealand Billiard Championships for many years. And even as recently as the last weekend, it was the place where the RAT test, the rapid antigen testing, was being done for the police who are currently on the site. You'll probably recognise it as a place where a lot of interviews take place and a few press conferences, and also it's used for select committees occasionally at the moment. The ballot process is an important one. It's a way that MPs can get bills drawn that wouldn't come through a normal government process. So quite often they're controversial matters, but not always. They can sometimes be pretty boring. But if an MP has an idea for legislation that they want to put up, they can put it into the ballot, only allowed one at a time, and it gets drawn out by the clerk. And there's been some pretty famous legislation that's come through that way. Civil unions, marriage equality are two examples of the legislation that's been enacted in New Zealand through the biscuit tin method. So it's a small but important part of our democracy, and I'm going to hand over to the Clerk of the House, who's going to show you how it works and to draw out the bill which you guys are going to be debating. David Wilson.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. And some of you will recognise the biscuit tin, the one we use normally to draw members' bills. Today we're going to use it to draw one of three possible bills that you have suggested you'd like to debate. So one is the Electoral Voting Age Amendment Bill, the Modern Slavery and Supply Chains and Operations Bill, or the Minimum Wage Starting Out Wage Abolition Amendment Bill. And what we do is there's a token for each of those bills. We'll drop them in the tin. I'll ask the Speaker to do that. Then we'll shake them up and I'll draw one out.
Right. Electoral voting age, number 1. Modern slavery, number 2. Minimum wage, starting out wage abolition bill, number 3.
Okay, so there's normally about 70 bills. This time they've got a pretty good chance of getting one. Right. It's number 3, minimum wage starting out wage abolition amendment bill. So what will happen from here is some of my staff will draft this bill, so it'll be ready for you when you arrive at the Youth Parliament to debate. And we're looking forward to a really lively debate and, of course, welcome you to the precinct. And that brings the ballot to an end. Look forward to meeting you all. Ka kite anō.